I love homeschool conventions. I came to my first homeschool convention just before we started homeschooling. I believe it was 1988. It was held in a church fellowship hall, and there were 2 folding tables. I think they were 8 feet long, but they might have just been 6 feet long, that held all the curriculum that was available for homeschoolers then. And some of it wasn't really, some of it was just recycled school curriculum. But it was so much fun to go and look. And it was so much fun to see that there were other people. When we all went into the sanctuary for the keynote address, there were almost 100 people there. It was amazing. And this was the statewide gathering. And ever since then, I don't think I have missed a year in going to homeschool conferences. And I'm saying that with our state conference being in June and 3 of my 4 boys having been born in June, I still went because it was nourishment for the soul. And there was the opportunity to share with others things that I had learned. And then there was also opportunity to glean what others had learned. And it was an amazing privilege to be able to go and be part of that circle of learning and loving parents who wanted to the best for their children and were striving to learn the best. But the interesting thing was, my favorite place was always the exhibit hall, because you could look at the stuff, you could finger it, and you could talk to the vendors. It got to where I would not go to any of the workshops. I'd go buy the whole package of all the workshops on CD, which I would enjoy more anyway because I could listen to them in my car at leisure later. And I would spend my entire time in the exhibit hall talking to the vendors. Most of the vendors are homeschooling parents who have come through, created materials or gathered, curated materials that really work for homeschooling families. And they've created things that are amazing. And there's accumulated wisdom behind every single table in the homeschool convention hall, usually. And I just had great joy in doing that. That's where I met so many of the big names in homeschooling, you know, from the very first. It just had fun talking to the different ones. And being able to finger through the curriculum, talk to the authors very often about why they wrote it the way they did. When you find out the why of anything, you can understand and implement and use the curriculum better. Being able to go to the conference each year was a huge financial sacrifice. Back in the day, it was expensive. And now the prices have come down in most places, and the conferences are very affordable. And when you go to a homeschool conference today, the most exciting thing that you will see is acres of curriculum and so many good speakers to choose from. And I always tell newbie homeschoolers, there's 3 days. So the first night, walk through the exhibit hall, gather all the materials you can pick up from every booth in the place, whether you're interested or not. Just pick up whatever they offer, because then you can take it back to your hotel room or your home and look through it that evening. Figure out which of the materials and vendors, you know, what speaks to you, what do you need? And at our booth, I always offer a newsletter format handout. And one of the articles in it is how to enjoy the conference, another article on how to choose curriculum. And so I'm trying to equip homeschoolers as they walk by. And, you know, there's just so much accumulated wisdom from all the things that you can pick up. But by doing that, on day 2 of the conference, you can have a plan. You can go through your program and circle all the vendors you especially want to see. You can circle workshops, people you want to hear based on the materials you have in your hand, because these are the things vendors have prepared to share with you. Their most important whatever. You know, and some of them are there to tell you about a college or something. And if you have 6-year-olds, you probably don't need that. You can skip those. But overall, take the training materials that are freely offered, talk to the vendors, the parents in the hall, and then on day 3, make your purchases. That's usually the process I followed. And of course, you have to start early enough in the day that you're not madly dashing around making crazy purchases. But the things that last the longest are books that you can share among many grades. It's the age-graded workbooks and things like that that you need to spend the least money on. The most money should go for reference tools, things that everybody can use, things that work for the family. Lots of living books is a great way to spend money. And those living books are going to be things that you keep. We used to get all the Sunlight cores. Sunlight is a homeschool provider that very early on I found out that fit our family. I never used the teacher's manuals, but the books have been lovely additions to our homeschool library, and the boys have went back and read them multiple times. I go back and read them from time to time even. And so, you find things that fit. So homeschool conferences are great. I highly recommend them.